What is going on, Bucs fans and CFP fans? Evan Wanish here, co-host of the Cannon Fire podcast, back at you with yet another edition of Studs and Duds, this time for Week 12, analyzing the Buccaneers' defeat at the hands of the Indianapolis Colts, 27-20, in a game where the Bucs had plenty of opportunities to win this game, and really, I think that's been a story in a lot of the games they've lost. There's been opportunities to win these games, and just haven't seized them for one way or another. And let's get right into, though, the studs and duds for this week. We're going to start with the studs, all right? So we're going to start with the good first. We're not going to go right into the bad, because I know it's a loss. People are feeling down. I want to bring some positivity into it. So let's go right into the studs. And we're going to start off on offense with Mike Evans. Had a really, really nice day as he continues to be pretty dominant, honestly. Had 6 catches for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also had a couple of really nice catches, the one on third down, I remember, on the first drive of the game. He had to really get up for that one. So Mike Evans was a stud yesterday for the Buccaneers. He continues to be this great player, and you're starting to have a hard time foreseeing a world where Mike Evans isn't a Buccaneer. So with his pending free agency, I think the Buccaneers want to get something done. I think Mike Evans wants to stay. And with his play, I mean, he hasn't been declining at all. So even though he's going to be over 30, it doesn't really matter to me because the production is still there and he's shown no signs of slowing down. So I think Mike Evans, with his play in a game like yesterday's with 2 touchdowns, is only going to help that. I think he could receive a pretty nice contract, and I think it's going to be likely from the Buccaneers. So with that being said, we're going to move over to the defensive side of the ball, and we're going to say a name who has been subject to a lot of criticism, I would say more recently. That's Carlton Davis. I thought Carlton Davis had a really nice day. Not only did he have the only turnover of the day for the Buccaneers, the interception, but he also made a couple of nice pass breakups, and I think the matchup that he had was favorable for him. Now, Michael Pittman Jr. had a nice day, but he wasn't always covered by Carlton Davis. However, when he was covered by Pittman Jr., his style is a good fit for Davis, how he plays, and sort of length on length, strength on strength there, and it's a pretty even matchup. Obviously, Pittman got the better of him at times, but Carlton Davis made a few pass breakups. So he ended the day with 10 total tackles, which by a corner isn't great, meaning you have to tackle a lot. And that means that they're probably going past the line of scrimmage, and that's gaining yards. So that's not good. But did have that one interception, and like I said, a couple of pass breakups as well. So hopefully Carlton Davis now can sort of rebound from a rough season that he's had so far. It has not been easy sledding for Carlton Davis and the Bucs secondary this season. Now I know Jamel Dean has been out. Hopefully he can come back and be another good source of production for the Buccaneers, because he's also struggled. But Carlton Davis is arguably this team's number 1 corner. They need Carlton Davis to be good, and quite frankly, he hasn't been at times this season. So hopefully Carlton Davis can get it right, and this could be the first game in turning his season around. And lastly, we're going to go with a rookie. We're going to go with Keke Coutee. Keke Coutee, who had 3 tackles but had 1 sack. And he looks good, and it's a real shame that he had to miss all the preseason, all the training camp, and even some of the regular season, because who knows where this kid would be right now if he didn't have to miss that time. His development has been really quick. He's made an impact early, and the Buccaneers defense has really, really benefited from having him out there, especially when the pass rush has struggled at times this year, especially the 4-man pass rush has really, really struggled. And I think a guy like Keke Coutee coming in and being this good in his rookie year, it's a great sign for the Buccaneers. It really, really is a fantastic sign for the Bucs, and hopefully Keke Coutee can just keep developing from here on out and develop into a really, really good pass rusher. So that's what the Bucs are hoping, and right now it's looking pretty good. So Keke Coutee is our final stud of the week. Now let's get into the duds, and we're going to talk about Trey Palmer first. Now, Palmer's day, 4 catches, 17 yards, but it's really what he didn't do. And he didn't catch the football on a 2nd and 17, which would have definitely extended the drive. It would have gotten the first down, but he might have scored on that play, honestly, because there was a lot of open field ahead of him, and the ball was right there. It's pretty simple. You got to catch the football, and Trey Palmer has been a bright spot, I think, for this offense at times, but that is something to where he needs to come up with that pass and just didn't. It's a small sample size, but when you have a small sample size and you have a crippling mistake like that, it's going to get you on the dud list, unfortunately. So Trey Palmer, I know he's in a larger role than expected. Obviously, with Russell Gage going down for the year right in training camp, Palmer stepped into that wide receiver 3 role, but still got to make that grab. That's an easy grab for an NFL wide receiver, and it cost the Bucs points there. It truly did. If the Bucs weren't going to score a touchdown there, they would have at least been in field goal range. Instead, they got nothing. So Trey Palmer just has to catch that ball, and that's why he's on the dud list for this week. Another name on the dud list for the offense, and this, honestly, I suspect this will be the only time that we hear this guy's name on the dud list. That's Tristan Wirfs. Tristan Wirfs, he's not 100% healthy. He got banged up in that San Francisco game, gave up a sack after he got banged up in that San Francisco game, and then gave up 2 sacks against the Indianapolis Colts. Very, very uncharacteristic of Tristan Wirfs to give up 2 sacks. I mean, 2 sacks all season, and then 2 sacks in one game, like that's kind of unheard of. 3 sacks in the past 2 games allowed by Tristan Wirfs. He's clearly not healthy. Hopefully he can get healthy, but it's clearly something that's bothering him because it wasn't an issue before he got a little bit banged up there in San Francisco. I'm not overly worried about it or anything, but I think the Buccaneers should maybe monitor that. And like I said, probably the only time you're going to hear his name on the duds list, but he was a dud last week against the Colts. And also, like, the 1 sack that he gave up ended up being the game clincher because it was the strip sack of Baker Mayfield. So, yeah, unfortunately for Tristan Wirfs, even though you are banged up, you're out there, you're playing, so you're expected to do well. Like, you know, you're a player of your caliber, you're expected to go out there. If you can play, if you're healthy enough to play, you're expected to go out there and perform, and Tristan Wirfs just didn't do that on Sunday. So, with that being said, our final dud of the week, we're going to go to defense, and we're going to go to Devon White. Now, I know Devon White has had a lot of heat on him the past few weeks, and it's only getting louder. And I did my free agency priorities, and Devon White wasn't on it, and we've talked a lot about on the podcast that, like, I don't expect Devon White to be back in Tampa Bay. I personally do not expect him to be back in Tampa Bay in 2024. I think the team is ready to move on, and I don't think his play warrants a contract that he wanted this past offseason. And he got faked out of his shoes by Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew ran to the end zone then. That's a play that, like, Devon White just has to make. He simply has to make. The broadcast even pointed that out. Devon White has to make that play, and at times he has made that play in his career. I mean, it hasn't been all bad with Devon White. The biggest thing with Devon White has been inconsistency. Unfortunately, this year he's been consistent, just consistently bad, and that's a problem for the Buccaneers, and especially for Devon White, who entering a contract year, especially when you requested a trade in the offseason because you weren't getting the money that you wish you had gotten or you felt like you had earned. Right now, he's not earning anywhere near that. And there were rumors of, $100 million. He was wanting, 5-year deal, $20 million a year. He's not going to get anywhere close to that from the Buccaneers or anyone else, quite frankly, in the NFL. So wherever he ends up next season, I don't suspect it'll be in Tampa Bay, but we'll see. It's going to be a lot less than $100 million. And Devon White, he's got to finish the year strong if he wants to have any possibility of getting that money or staying in Tampa Bay, because right now, he's not playing like a top linebacker at all. He's one of PFF's lowest. I actually think among starters, he is their lowest graded linebacker among qualified starters. So just a rough year for Devon White, and it's coming at the worst time. So he's a dud for the week. Really, I mean, he's been a dud a lot of the season, unfortunately, for the Buccaneers. Hopefully he can turn around for himself and the Bucs, because when he's on, especially with the Levante David being out, they really need a guy like Devon White to be able to step up. So we'll have to wait and see if Devon White can turn things around. not going to mention Baker Mayfield. He's sort of like an honorable mention in both because I thought he made some nice throws, but also had another interception, had another 2 turnover game. So we'll have to see. Hopefully the turnovers aren't becoming a trend with him. But that is studs and duds for week 12. The Buccaneers are 4-7 now. Going to be facing the Carolina Panthers next up. With the 1-10 Carolina Panthers, who just this morning fired Frank Reich, their head coach. So, I mean, the Panthers are down and out right now, but as we can see, this Buccaneers team can lose to just about anybody. So we'll see if the Buccaneers can rebound and snap their 2-game losing streak this Sunday against Carolina. Be sure to check out the review show that we did on Can of Fire Podcast, reviewing the Colts game. It's live here on YouTube and anywhere you listen to a podcast. Also, be sure to check out our Tuesday show, which will be coming up. We'll be talking Baker Mayfield. We'll be talking Devon White. We'll be talking all that stuff on the Tuesday show. And also stay tuned for our Friday preview show for the Carolina Panthers game. That'll be coming out later this week. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for watching the podcast as well. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and go Bucs.